Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new year. Happy New Year everybody. Welcome back to the Legend of Grimrock 2 single character playthrough. My name is Highwing and here I'm showing off that I actually did go back and get the Ancient Claymore. My collection's looking pretty good right now. So for today's agenda we are going to go to the graveyard. It's the last dungeon in the area and you want to save here first and foremost, mainly because the graveyard doesn't have a save point. Which is kind of intimidating because, man, you kind of need it. Here we go. Now, as I mentioned before, I really like this place a lot. This level, for having like assets seen across the entire game, it still has a very good sense of atmosphere, you know? And this is also the place for a puzzle with a really cool item that I wish I'd gotten at the beginning of this run, because, man, it helps a lot. So if we put those two scrolls together, we see 3 steps... It was 3 steps west and 4 south from the graveyard entrance. And this is me trying to read and map at the same time. But by doing this convoluted mess, we get a really good item after we chop down some bushes. That gets us... I can't even talk. The Bracelet of Tyrann. Now, this was in Grimrock 1, and I was honestly shocked to see it return, because I totally forgot about this bracelet. And it's a really good bracelet, you know, because it gives you 15% faster cooldowns, which means your attacks come out faster alongside magic. So this is just a bracelet that's good on anyone, especially for me, because I need those faster cooldowns. Combat's starting to get a little tedious with all the HP enemies are starting to get. Now, a long time ago in the archives, we got a riveting tale about some dude who went somewhere north. And that's basically a safe combination for this thing. And I say safe combination, I basically mean this is the code you use to unlock the door for this. The code is north, west, south, north, north. Now, for whatever reason, I can never remember this, because, man, like... The story you get from the 3 letters is just so vague that I'm never quite sure what they want from you. Now, I kept this little fight in to show off just how quick the cooldown is with the bracelet on. Now, it's not really inherently noticeable, but if you do the comparisons, we are attacking a lot faster than we normally did back with the just the evasion buff. Because now we are at 25% less cooldown rates, and I believe that's additive, not, you know, apply the 10% then apply the 15%. Now, since this is a graveyard, and as we learned before, graves give us many good things, we're gonna rob every grave here. Every single one. Probably shouldn't be wasting my time like this. Now, I don't really show off the graves much in here because I'm busy just playing and it's just become second nature to me, but a lot of those graves have random capitalizations in it, and they're involved with this puzzle. Now, this is a puzzle I had to actually, you know, look up because I had no idea this existed. But basically, there's a lot of random capitalizations of letters on all the gravestones in here that lead to a puzzle leading to the coordinates of this chest. Some of you may have to correct me on this because I don't know the exact details, but I believe it's if you take all the capitalized letters from every gravestone, it will tell you Riddle's treasure lies here or something. Now, I really don't know the puzzle 100%. Some of you will definitely have to correct me on that, because I cheated. I should apologize, but I'm not sorry because I don't really use the item here. I mean, the gold key is nice, but we have a stockpile of them. The book we get, what it does is... During the daytime, you get -5 vitality from your base value, but at nighttime you get +5 vitality. So, basically you would want to operate in the night 24/7. But that's not really fun for the LP, just because when at night everything looks kind of bleh and boring and uninteresting. So I'm not going to use it, I'm going to put it back. I could probably use the extra vitality to tank and spank, but I'm just thinking of presentation more than effectiveness. Like that, if I think about it, vitality for my run would mean effectively just 25% more max health, which is pretty good. It would allow me to tank and spank a little bit more, but I'm not trying to tank and spank. So I don't need the insurance. What I have right now is enough. Now over here we have a power gem and another puzzle that I don't quite know. What I'm gonna assume happens here is that there are 2 switches on the left and right sides of this puzzle. Each one will cause a door to shut in kind of a sequence. So imagine 2 doors shut across this 2x3 grid. Clicking on the buttons on the left side will shift 1 along each one, and clicking ones on the right side will shift the doors on the other. Now, should a button on the right side cause the door from the left control to open, it won't. It'll just pass that door completely. So what you're supposed to do is get the right door underneath a left switch so you can continue, and vice versa. Now, I say I think that happens because A, I don't know how to like simplify that, and B, I'm not 100% sure how that's working, because I never really did solve this puzzle. This is one of those instances of me bumbling to victory. Now the worst part about this puzzle is that if you fail, you drop down in that pit, which doesn't sound all that bad when you're done, but when you get to the other half of this thing and you pull a lever to unlock the power stone, the gates underground shift to a teleporter that forces you back into this area. So effectively, you have to solve the puzzle twice to get the power stone. There's no half-assing it or shortcutting it. And I don't know whether it's like luck or just plain intuition, but I managed to get it the first time. Because in my practice playthrough and the first time I played this game, I never figured it out. And I think in this time I just kind of rolled with it and it just happened to work. Now here is where I kind of mess up though, because what I have to do is reset the left switch door to a certain spot. And I don't realize that for a while. I'm trying to figure out where should I put this door, because I have to move that door. It's a really tricky puzzle, not gonna lie. And also the gratings make it kind of hard to see through there, so I don't quite know exactly where the door is. Just one more door to handle and we should be done. There we go. Now I'm getting really worried because while I'm getting a lot of alchemy ingredients, the important one, as the red cap, is getting staggeringly low. And it's only gonna get lower because encounters here are kind of rough, which we'll see later, and I'll elaborate why I don't exactly like this place from a fighting perspective. But man, I'm having reservations on certain later fights just because I am not getting any red caps, and I think I've pretty much consumed them all. An obedient servant, huh? Obedient to his grave. So fights in the graveyard are boring, and I don't like them at all because it's a graveyard, so you're thinking, yeah, zombies. But there's only one enemy in the graveyard, and that's really boring. You can only fight one enemy so much, and you fight roughly 15 of the same damn zombie in this area. And that just gets boring. But in the meantime, though, I'm getting a fire bombs here because they're going to be important for solving a puzzle. And it's another puzzle that I kind of initially thought was a bit tricky and almost impossible for the single character challenge until I remembered about bombs. But yeah, onto level design. This area has 2 enemies, these stupid tree branches that suck and have backs apparently. And then they have the zombies. Now, Zombies, I feel like you could get a lot of versatility out of. We don't have to fight the same one zombie every single time. That's just boring. It would have been nice if we would have gotten, like, I don't know, half a zombie, crawling zombies, maybe, maybe actual, you know, skeletons, skeletal abominations. You can do a lot of things with the undead, and you don't really see that here. You see that in the Mausoleum that we were about to go into, but not in the graveyard, which I feel is kinda underwhelming. Now, I saved and, you know, prepared for a fight here because I thought a certain fight was here, but I was wrong. It's just a graveyard fish. Which sounds really disgusting now that I think about it. Now, at certain points in the graveyard, you're gonna pass a certain tile that will summon 4 zombies at certain parts of the map around you. They're usually out of sight. But if you don't take care of the zombies ASAP, they will easily, you know, swarm in and take care of you. So before you progress, take out all those zombies, or else you're gonna become zombie chow. Now here is a puzzle that someone in the essay thread actually thought was impossible because of my limited acting capacity. What he thought was I wouldn't be able to throw 3 stones here due to the cooldown on the stone's actions, but there's a trick to this. Throwing weapons, yes, does have a cooldown if you use it as a character action, but if you're throwing it out of your backpack, it either has no cooldown or an infinitesimally small cooldown. So if you do it like this, you could solve the puzzle super easily. And this is also important when it comes to bombs. Because, now that I think about it, with bombs, if you throw them from your inventory, you have no cooldown, but you don't get the damage buff from throw mastery. So it's a bit of a trade-off there. Now this part sucks. I'm not a huge fan of the spawns around this area because it's so easy to get trapped. It's just not fun at all. Like, you pretty much need to bum rush this zombie and then run. And what I should have done is just spammed my bombs. But, you know, I just had to get that sword hit in. And run. You want to funnel those dudes and not get pinned down, because it is rough if you do. I think I game over here 5 times because I totally forgot about that, those 3 Zeds that spawn on the way out. And here's me sleeping in my grave. I feel like this is a curse in some cultures, but I can't remember what. Now notice how more ominous and just eerie looking this place is with the daylight. You wouldn't be seeing how cool this looks if I had used that, nighttime tome. That's kind of why I try to, you know, do any fights possible out in the or any exploration or any fights out in the day. Because the day-night cycle is cool, it's a great mechanic, but like in the single character challenge you don't get like torches or something nice to make the area look good. You just get the fluorescent magic spell. So I just try to stay out in the daytime to make things look pretty. Now, a weird thing about this is, I mentioned before that the rewards from digging graves are set in stone. They just randomly appear. And for whatever reasons, one reward that you get is 8 bullets. And I don't quite know why. They could have like rounded up to 10 or whatever, but they just decided to give you 8 bullets. I mean, it would have made sense if it was like 1 bullet, because that'd be like, you know, it'd be like the weird Jack Sparrow, here's the bullet to kill yourself with. But I don't know, it's just like kind of an arbitrary number of bullets to put in a grave. Now here's the clue that we needed to learn to do the crazy shit I did in episode 2. It's basically, the Silent Seeker has a secret. Watch where he watches and wait. And that's what you do to unlock the Water Temple. Which kind of makes sense, like, the power stones for the, the water essence are spread across 3 different dungeons. So naturally, you would need some kind of weird place to lock it down until you have the necessary stones. Now this poor dude has a grave in the middle of a walkway. That's kind of sad. Whoever managed this grave didn't do a good job. Now here is a deceptively hard puzzle for the single character playthrough, and kind of ingenious in my opinion. What we need to do is clear a path through those pots in order for a missile to reach a receptacle. Now normally when you do this in a regular playthrough, you're going to have either a magician, a ranged user, or a throwing master, and that won't cause any problems. However, with my build, I can't really do any of that. And before, I thought I would have to throw a bunch of rocks in order to, you know, break all three of those vase things. But there's actually a neat trick that you could do with this puzzle. The firebomb in particular, I don't know if this is intended or not, but it could just barely break those vases. So if you time it just right and do the puzzle properly with the firebombs, you could do this no problem. And that's pretty clever in my opinion. Like, I think when I did this in my first playthrough, I just used my mage's air bolt, I believe. And yeah, when you have a mage, this is certainly a lot easier, but when you don't, the problems of this puzzle start to arise. And for the final vase, you gotta do this rigmarole. Very good puzzle. I like it a lot. It's a great test of mechanical design and just, you know, cognitive reasoning. But there's a lot of holes in there. We may have solved the puzzle, but I gotta go exploring. Now down here we don't get much. We just get a lockpick and a single fight. But this... I've never seen this happen in any of my playthroughs up until now, and this is the funniest thing to me. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fight a lightning drake, and I'm gonna stack my lightning resist to maximum. So I should, in theory, take absolutely no damage from this drake. I should be fine. I'm trying to find that lockpick, though. I think it's just behind the drake. Okay, so I didn't take any damage, but I'm injured. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, honestly. I somehow managed to be perfectly fine from the lightning, but he managed to cut my hamstring. What? And the weird part is, this happens on multiple times across my my run through of the graveyard, and it's just baffling to me. How does this work? But you know what that means. I don't have any red caps, so we gotta walk all the way back with a broken foot. I do kind of wish they put a crystal in the graveyard, because this walk is not fun, especially when you're doing this through your first playthrough. And yeah, the fruits of our labor is progress. And 4 zombies. These fights are, like, the first time, yeah, it's fun, but when you're doing it like the 12th to 15th time, this fight is just tedious. Like, it would have been nice to see a little bit more extra enemies, like maybe, like, put a mummy in there or an undead crusader. Just having a bunch of these dudes at once kinda just feels really uninspired. But here we get the ethereal blade. Now, if you're paying attention to the damage modifier, it says ethereal damage modified by dexterity. No other weapon has a modifier like that in this game. Not even something cool like elemental 20 or something. Actually, no, wait, I lied. The meteor hammer and the venom pick have attack modifiers, but here's the slugfest I was worried about. Now, the ethereal blade doesn't do damage to most, if not all, enemies. The only thing it does damage to is elementals. So the fire elemental, the ice elemental, and more specifically the wind elemental. This weapon is specifically designed to allow players to kill the wind elemental alongside 2 other things. And that's how I'm going to kill the wind elementals in Stormbreach and in Forgotten River. But we finally made it to our goal. We are at the center of the graveyard, the Mausoleum of a certain pair of individuals that we'll be seeing very soon in the next update. Now here's the nice thing. We see the end of Killigan's tale. He threw away his lust for revenge and became a seeker of enlightenment. That's nice to hear. And he left his weapons here for us to use. Too bad they're trash. But yeah, next time on The Legend of Grimrock 2, we are going to the Mausoleum. I'll see you guys next time.